Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of Have You Seen This? Today we're going to be talking about, well, the million shows that we have been watching in June and the million shows that are yet to premiere. I'm going to talk a little bit about one that's coming next week, and if we got time, anyway. And then we've also got, what have we got for news? We've got a couple of different shows that are either one that's coming out at the end of the year, apparently,
Thank God.
and a couple of shows that we know that are continuing forward. I also just heard of one that nobody here has heard of, so Dave may as well throw up that breaking news bit for a quick second. We already have a season 4 of The Boys.
Oh, what? Oh my God.
Yeah, there's 4 episodes aired of season 3. The 4th is, or no, there's 4 episodes now. And then the 5th is coming on Friday, and season 4 is coming at the end. So that's pretty cool.
In a shocking announcement, there's going to be a 4th season of The Boys.
Yeah, it was so shocking to me that I needed to throw it before I even do what we do every single week. First, how's it going, Rob?
It's going fine. I built a deck. I really didn't do much. There were people up building a deck, and I ended up fucking screwing up my my Achilles tendon. So as long as we don't have to play hopscotch tonight on the show, I'll be just fine.
Well, I guess, Dave, you're going to have to throw out my suggestion for our 4th segment. So,
shit, was this the week? I blew it.
Yeah, we're going to do the hopscotch tournament, but I guess my teammate can't play, so I guess, damn.
I guess those
All right.
orphans don't get to eat now.
For some real news, I have a little alien behind me. He's new. And yeah, so
I don't trust it. I don't trust it one bit.
I know it's a little squid boy. I like my little squid boys. And speaking of squid boys, we've got 2 little pieces of news coming out of the Squid Game network. We have that reality show. I was just seeing a freaking trailer for that. 456 contestants, $4.56 million prize pool.
What?
Yeah. Real life Squid Games is here. And I'm not sure.
None of these people watch this show. Do they not know what
Has no one watched Black Mirror? This is how it starts.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
I won't even cross the street now unless it's a green light.
Yeah, we
never know when it can start.
We have a slippery slope that starts with Squid Game. It runs through probably Mad Max and definitely Black Mirror, and then ends somewhere around Hunger Games. So buckle up. We also have a.
Would you sign up? Would you honestly sign up for a game like a Squid Games game?
I don't know. Depending.
I'd be one of those first one shot.
Yeah, I think I would be down. I just I haven't seen Squid Game, so I'm kind of terrified. But also, I don't know how good I'd be at the more challenge aspects of the game. The mind games, I think I'm okay with. I've played a lot of social deduction games. I think I can get my way through those sorts of navigations. I just don't know if I can physically keep up with the tug of war,
Well, there's one. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that just eliminates half of everybody. You could have just tossed the wrong coin and now you're screwed. I'd sign up though. I'd like to see how it goes.
I'd sign you up too.
And then we also got Squid Game Season 2. This one's the non-reality version. The fictional Squid Games are also coming. I don't have actually any more information than that. I was recently going to bring up that I heard it wasn't yet confirmed, even though Yes, and we had previously reported that. Like, we had
Guys,
previously reported the CEO of Netflix basically saying, like, yeah, we're going to have more Squid Game and we're going to have more, and they're investing a lot of money into Netflix Korea. But we didn't actually hear a confirmation of Squid Game Season 2. And then a week
we're
or
in
two
traffic.
ago, I actually saw specifically them saying, there is no confirmed Season 2. Now there is. That's literally all the news I have, but it was
They didn't want to make
evident.
us liars. They did not want to make us liars.
I
Whoa.
see.
So the only thing I know is that the big doll that turns her head or whatever for red light, green light, has a boyfriend. They said she has a boyfriend, and you're gonna meet the boyfriend this season. Like,
Fun stuff, fun stuff.
Yeah. All she really did was turn her head and look at people. Well, that's about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe this guy actually has like lasers or something like that. They shoot out instead of having just guys shoot at you.
So I've also got a second little piece of non-news this week. It's, you know, sort of news, but only kind of slipped out in an interview. Nobody knows if it was an intentional or unintentional leak, but Jon Favreau did mention he was currently writing Mando Season 4, and that it will line up with certain events that happen in basically he was talking about, like, because he oversees a lot of the Star Wars stuff, he was talking about, I believe, the Ahsoka series, and basically saying how talking with the writers and creators of that series pushed him to speak on the fact that those all inform his writing for Mando Season 4, and everybody globbed onto Mando Season 4, and so that kind of trended for a little bit.
The Ghost is bringing up a valid point here, though. Will you, by any point before Season 4 comes out, watch a single goddamn episode of that show?
Well, now I'm super confused, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned a thing that happened in Book of Boba Fett to somebody, like word for word, bar for bar. They said it happens in Mando already. And I was just like, I'm so confused because I've never seen Mandalorian. And he's like, but I've never seen Book of Boba Fett. And we both remember the exact same thing. So now I'm confused as to whether I may have watched some Mandalorian.
The Mandela. Yeah,
it was when Mando goes back to the temple and says that he took his helmet off, and then they tell him he's not a Mandalorian anymore, and he duels somebody for the Darksaber and he wins, and then he leaves and he goes and does a thing. And I don't know if that was just retreading Mandalorian ground on Boba Fett, or I know I watched that, and I know I haven't seen Mandalorian.
That's Boba Fett.
And
that's that, one of those many episodes where Boba Fett was not in Boba Fett.
Also, fucking spoilers. Whew, that was a lot.
The Ghost isn't perfect, guys. We can't catch every spoiler.
Yeah,
hey, it's okay. It's okay. If people haven't been watching the shows
Boba Fett
that we
hold on, guys.
Then they definitely didn't watch season 1 of our show, because we covered it a lot.
That's true.
And
I remember specifically spoiling the shit out of things. You didn't even watch it.
I am definitely going to watch Mandalorian. It's, again, much like Bad Batch. I watched the first episode and a half, and then I was like, I really like this, and then I had to get on a bus to go do something or whatever, and then never watched it again. But Mandalorian is definitely, I like the show. I am curious. I know quite a bit of the story already, and I know I like it. So I know one day I will go watch Mandalorian. I just, I'm letting the episodes pile up. Dave's an anime fan. He knows about letting the episodes pile up.
Unbelievable. Mandalorian, by far my favorite of the Star Wars series so far. I am interested in Ahsoka though. Again, I don't know much about her except for that she was in The Mandalorian, and then she was in that episode of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So yes, I never really saw her on the cartoons, so I don't know.
Yes, and my memory of the cartoons is such that I saw them so long ago that I don't really remember most of the stories. But whenever I see cutscenes, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember watching this, and I remember this, and I just really like Ahsoka. I like the dual wielding of the lightsabers, so I enjoy that character more than most other characters in Star Wars because there are only a couple of them, and also the white lightsabers are cool too. And so I just also want to see a frickin' Jedi who's not a goddamn Skywalker.
No kidding.
And I guess she's not really a Jedi either, but
Ooh.
And yeah, because she keeps telling people that she's not a Jedi, so I don't know.
I don't even
but
know
I'm really excited for that series in particular, and that is one I'm going to watch every single episode of from the beginning.
See.
So Dave can't get mad at me.
We'll see about that. Right now, I'm gonna.
Hey, I've watched every episode of Kenobi. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I do have a quick thing to mention about Wednesday Addams.
Ooh, okay.
I heard about this series and then it completely slipped my mind until it's premiering at the end of this year. They're making like a kind of teenage high school version of Wednesday Addams. Mm-hmm. I've literally heard about this concept of a character being tossed about for probably since the original Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
And I also saw just today that Christina Ricci is playing an unknown part in the series, and I looked more into it. I saw freaking I think it's Luis Guzman is going to be Gomez.
Yes.
I'm just really excited for this. As
a community fan, I was very excited when Luis Guzman was named.
Yeah. I mean, I remember definitely the movie and quite a bit of the television show as well. And because like I'm not remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember who.
Jones is Morticia. Holy, really gone in this thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, someone in my family was definitely a fan, and that along with we definitely shouldn't have been watching Beetlejuice alongside those movies, but we did, and literally as a 4-year-old, I was watching Beetlejuice, and do not show a 4-year-old Beetlejuice.
That answers more questions than asked.
Don't show a 4-year-old Beetlejuice, but definitely show them the Addams Family. I think it's like the perfect blend of spooky but not scary.
For sure.
Everything in it. Yeah.
Supposed to be scary.
No, and it's like intro to horror. It's like all of those little horror elements, and it's introducing you to those characters in a very friendly setting. And
I think introducing the new generation to those characters.
Yeah. But I hope that this series is nothing like that. I hope Wednesday tortures some people, honestly.
Well, that was always her thing, right? She was always talking about it with her brother. So,
and I hope that this, I believe it's a Netflix or being developed for Netflix. And so I hope that this series does not shy away from that. And I want to see some crazy, some Carrie shit,
Well, I guess they're giving her psychic abilities and stuff like that. I think they said, and it's Tim Burton who's directing all the episodes too. So you're gonna get a Tim Burton.
I've heard he's written and directed some of them.
That's enough. You only have to do something.
Yeah.
That's great. Set the tone.
And,
this is what the show is going to be.
And yeah, like that sounds great. It's something that is like so perfect for like people who love that genre, and like anyone who loves I think it's going to be like a darker version of Miss Marvel, essentially. It will be the coming of age story of the high school kid who doesn't quite fit in with everybody, but it's going to be one about, again, a child with superpowers, but one that doesn't necessarily use them, well, for the greater good, but not for good.
No, I don't know if they're going to do a thing where they move to a new town or something like that, but you'd figure by the time they're teenagers that everyone knows who the Addams Family is, especially in that town. Especially if you've seen the movies. It would be interesting to see what they're going to do with. If they don't, it would be great to see what they do with just Wednesday Addams being Wednesday Addams, but in a typical American high school town.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be fish out of water because everybody knew her.
Yeah. You could go either route. I assume they're going to go the route of like moving to a different town or a slight reboot on the universe so that they are more hidden. Because like on your whole first season writes itself that way of you can't show these people your powers, but you're going to show your friends your powers, and then like you've seen Buffy. I don't have to tell you.
I think she's more scared of showing people her family and her powers.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. And this is following a thing again too. It's following that same thing where everybody gets an idea and it gets doubled up, like volcano movies or asteroid movies or whatever. Because they're also remaking The Munsters, but I believe they're doing it as a movie. But Rob Zombie is doing The Munsters movie.
Okay.
Rob Zombie, but I think he's doing it family friendly still. I think he's doing like a PG rated The Munsters film. So you're getting the same kind of deal. You're getting The Munsters are coming back, and so is the Addams Family. I'm more looking forward to the Addams Family. I think this is going to be terrific. And I think the way that kid looks that they got to play Wednesday looks a lot like Christina Ricci did in the film. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, she looks very Wednesday Addams, and yes. I have seen like many different fan casts over the years, so I've seen better and worse ones, and I think the one they found is well suited to the character. I really am excited to see like a couple different trailers for this show, and if they're out now, that'd be cool. But if not,
I know there is one trailer out. Yeah.
And I really would like to see more, just to see like what kind of tone they're setting for the overall show, because the Addams Family vibe is going to sell me into the first episode, but are we getting Riverdale featuring the Addams Family, or are we getting Buffy featuring the Addams Family?
I think you're getting Tim Burton doing the Addams Family. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting something more along the lines of Beetlejuice.
But then would it be more of like a sitcom vibe? Like I don't know.
I think it's just I'm gonna think of it as the same kind of tone as Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is more of a comedy. But it has, the occasional little scary bit thrown in there and stuff like that. But, you watched it when you were 4. Did you have nightmares for the rest of your life of Beetlejuice? No.
No, so we actually loved Beetlejuice.
Right. But that's what the Addams Family is. It's just weird things like that going on. Like basically, Beetlejuice could be in the Addams Family universe. There'd be no problem with it. Maybe Beetlejuice will show up. All they have to do is say that. How many times have we said it this time? Oh my gosh.
Quite a few, but never like 3 times in a row. So we're probably okay. I don't know. It's how they summoned him, by saying it 3 times in a row. I'm not sure if anybody summons him by saying it 3 times in a
It
very
happened
long
in
sentence.
Community.
Again, I was 4, so...
They said BOT 3 times in Community, and the 3rd time you see him walking by the window from the study room.
And so, speaking of reviving old projects, we've got this character everybody loves from Star Wars? Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Episode 4. I don't know. What did you think? I have thoughts on this episode, but I haven't quite summed them up yet.
Yeah. I don't think Darth Vader ever needed
Which
to
time?
Yeah.
Which time, Dave? Which time?
Darth Vader never had to show up. He never had to show up yet.
Mm.
If you wanted Darth Vader to show up, make him show up in the last 15 minutes or something like that. I think Darth Vader is actually a detriment to the show rather than help. If you wanted Reva to be the main bad guy, you know what I mean? And then you throw Vader in the mix. It's like, well, what do you want her to do? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think that whole structure of the brothers and sisters and stuff like that, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Again, and they're all very one-note bad guys. Everyone just seems like this little bit. It'd be nice if there was a little, or at least they can be bad and still have fun with their
To be fair, Darth Vader is the only non-one-note bad guy in all of Star Wars, and he has exactly 2 notes. So it's not like we've got a high bar.
Yeah. If you wanted Reva to be the bad guy, let her be the bad guy. Let her, and just that last bit or whatever, she fails. Then when she faces Vader, then you get the Vader reveal and stuff like that. Then you can keep your dumb canon about, you last time you faced that was the learner, and now I'm the master and stuff like that. So, what? Yeah, God.
I think if he doesn't show up on the planet, which name I can't remember, even though they said it 4 times in the episode I watched today. Dave will put it up in a second. But yeah, if they hadn't had him there fail to capture Obi-Wan on his own, then I would have actually preferred the other scenes he's been in. I like the scene where she goes to him and basically jumps the line of all the other Inquisitors. I think the scene in the 4th episode where he throws her around the meeting room and tells her that she's failed, and he threatened to kill her if she failed, that I think that would have been more impactful if he hadn't failed as well. It's like, if I hadn't seen him in that scene fail to capture Obi-Wan, I would have, again, he would have been more menacing, but also I don't dislike the scene in episode 4 when he shows up. Especially how angry he is. He's super pissed that, again, he's pissed that he failed too, but it would have been better if he was just throwing his power around because his minions keep failing him. It would have been more building towards that Thanos moment where he says, "Never mind, I'll do it myself." Mm-hmm. That's a very impactful scene in the MCU because he is walking faster.
Those legs aren't rusting up anymore. They're brand new.
Yeah, they're
still under warranty.
Yeah, he's got his brand new droid parts. Mm-hmm. And also, I love how he's the only droid ever who didn't get knees. Every droid is more dexterous than his frickin' robot legs.
Unbelievable.
But no, I do think that it would have been better served to have him basically just throw the minions around.
You should have upped the stakes with them anyways. Of the 3 that were there, killed one. You know what I mean?
That would have been very cool.
You already killed the Grand Inquisitor and stuff like that. So why not just kill one of those 3 there? Like,
especially yes,
right,
if
okay, you're done.
If Vader had turned around and said like, you still failed and somebody needs to pay, and he just cut the Inquisitor, who Dave has already told us does not have a story further than this series, then that would have been perfect too. That would have kind of capped it off, and maybe Reva will get that person killed in a later episode to save herself. And again, this definitely could have just been a Reva series, and I would have been much more on board. But I don't know. I did like the whole thing where, I mean, she should know more about why Leia's mind can't be read so easily, and that would ruin a lot of things in Star Wars, so they can't actually go down that route. They can only hint at it.
Yeah. Is there Vader never figured out. Like, no one figured it out. No one knew that she was alive. Emperor didn't know. Was it ever in canon why people couldn't figure out who she was?
I don't know, but I just meant more about the fact that she is like Force sensitive at the very least, and nobody knows that for many more years. So we can't talk about that in this series. And there are a lot of handcuffs in Star Wars, and making these series, especially so around the time, and so he
couldn't feel it though.
Yeah, he knows there's a child, but he doesn't know there's 2 specifically.
He was within a couple blocks of her and couldn't feel it. Weird.
And like, Leia doesn't know that either, so it's fine. But again, like, part of the reason that she's like less readable has to be part of her Force sensitivity. Like, especially as a fucking child.
I was just wondering if there was ever like anything in canon about like, did Yoda do something, or did Kenobi do something to these 2 or whatever? Just, I don't know. I guess that's more wizardy stuff than Jedi stuff, but
like you said Yoda did some shit, and I had a picture of Dumbledore.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I was like, what? He marked her for slaughter?
As long as you go home, Darth Vader can't get you.
So to answer your question, they have addressed exactly this. They have addressed. So it's kind of like the first Harry Potter movie. Where like,
no, it can't be right.
Where Harry, he was always doing card tricks and like he was doing little magic shit without knowing that he was a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until he found out that, oh shit, I'm a wizard, that like other people were like, fuck, that's a wizard. It's kind of like that.
Teleported onto a school once, and he just never questioned it. Fucking idiot.
But it's kind of like that, where Leia is just, because she thinks that she's just a fucking smart kid, she's not actively using the Force. Like, people are trying to read her, and if she doesn't even know what the Force is, you're not going to be able to pull out of her that she's using the Force.
Right. But then,
I guess go ahead.
Don't they have ways of tracking down Force sensitive people who aren't using the Force anyway?
No.
There was a kid I remember in a movie a while back. They showed up at a junkyard, and then the other guy says, "What the shit is this?" And turns out, it's the best Jedi ever, supposedly.
And Dan, to answer your question about that, there was a list of Force sensitive children kept on a holocron.
Okay.
And then, but that got dealt with in Jedi Fallen Order. And also, I think
they were just tracing lineage, basically.
Yeah, I think it would have probably also just said Skywalker, so people would have just assumed that was Luke. Yeah, because she's
possibly,
Organa.
Yeah. Star Wars sure makes you do a lot of work just to follow along.
Rob, that's on you. Do the homework.
I didn't do it in school. Why would I do it now? So here's another thing about Riva.
Although
you know
you
what,
didn't do your school homework because you were watching Star Wars,
How
so
dare you? Maybe not.
where's
anymore.
your excuse?
Yeah, it's a vicious circle. So if you'd ever show Riva, doubting what she's doing every once in a while, I think that would make her a better character. But just to have her, if she's not Sith, if she isn't Sith, then what, and then she'd be like some kind of soldier or something like that, right? Like a powerful soldier. But you would think every once in a while, it's like, God, am I gonna kill a kid? Like she was ready to torture like a 10-year-old kid. But but she's not Sith. I don't know. She was still gonna kill that
she
kid.
does. She does question it a little bit, but she does kind of mention that to Leia as well. It's clear that whatever childhood and backstory they will eventually reveal to us about her, that she grew up on probably a poor planet. She probably grew up in and around a bunch of terrible, unlawful activity and all sorts of things. And then the Empire and the Inquisitors gave her power, and more so than, because apparently they are old Jedi, more so than the Jedi Order ever could have given her, the Inquisitorship allows her to command people. And the Jedi don't command, they serve. And she, again, probably grew up terribly and didn't want to serve.
Or you could take it the other way and say that she came from a life of influence, and that when maybe
but she tells Leia she literally had nothing and everything she had was taken from her. She totally could be a liar.
I have no problem.
Oh, that would be wild.
Speaking of younglings, what did you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi going through that crypt? And
all
those
fuck.
Jedis, and just kind of showing like, what the heck? Hey, don't I know you?
Yeah, that must be crazy for him, because yes, he probably knew all those people. I did not recognize any of them. The child did hurt anyway. Because it's just like a bunch of people, and then the kid, and you're like, holy shit, they're even putting the children up as trophies. And then you're like, that's some evil ass shit.
Stuck in amber or something like that, like they were a bug or a prehistoric bug. Oh,
look.
Sign you tab.
Sure. Which one was that?
Probably the little kid.
You were saying?
What did you? Another water planet for Ben Kenobi. Poor guy. I guess there isn't too much. They don't go to another snow planet. I noticed that.
Well, no. Obviously, Darth Vader is going to build his base underwater, because it's the farthest thing from sand you could be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that way,
Even though I can't imagine.
The same thing as the bacta tank. Maybe the water is the same stuff as the bacta tank.
I can't imagine all that rushing water is good for his electrics either.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're probably right.
Just electrocutes this whole security group.
They're still brand new. He's trying to keep them spick and span so you can walk faster. Like, this is pretty good. It's like, I don't want to get older and move around all slow and old.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, over time, batteries drain and they become less effective and less powerful.
Inquisitors have it rough. No wonder they're so angry all the time. It's like, at any time we can get flushed. That thing is like an entire, huge toilet for the Inquisitor toilet.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. If at any time you could just destroy the office building you work in could be destroyed, it would breed just... Yeah, that actually explains why they're angry all the time, because failure could just mean death, even if it wasn't your failure.
They're sentient turds. It's like they know what's
And-
going to happen, but they know what's going to happen. It's like at some
Yeah.
point, this guy's going to flush this thing, and we're done.
Your
At least your
life
parents have no idea.
your life is the value of the lowest valued employee. So watch out.
It's pretty fair.
The HR in those places must be very, very strong.
It's still there. He just says take it up with HR, and then he just goes whatever opens the door. It's like that's me.
That is actually an accidental segue into our next thing. Speaking of HR and
No accidents.
I mean making sure that everybody at the company feels loved and accepted. And everybody at Vought Industries is loved and accepted. Oh man, I loved that episode.
Mm-hmm.
I am very curious because I've looked into a little bit of what the boys' comic books are about.
Oh, cheater.
I know. But interestingly enough, they seem to be doing the exact opposite of a lot of things. I mean, even from the beginning, they were doing that. But it's not nothing like the comics. It's not like the comics in the way that a lot of people believe that Garth Ennis didn't like superheroes, but made the boys that way because he hated superheroes so much, but comics were all that would pay the bills at the time.
Really? Is that how it
Yeah, like he wanted to write other things, and they were just like, no, we want you to write comic books about superheroes. And he wanted to write different graphic novels, but and so a lot of people believe that he makes a lot of those characters as terrible as possible, and the TV show actually does this is going to be some wild news. The TV show goes a long way to humanize a lot of the characters that the comics do not.
Yeah, sweet, lovable Homelander.
Yeah. He's worse than the comics. Literally pick a character, they're worse in the comics. Maybe not Starlight, but I don't know for sure.
How about Huey?
Well, Huey isn't worse, actually. He kind of has a lot of his story, and interestingly enough, is in the comics, they're turned into soups. I believe full-time, not with temporary compound V.
Temporary V.
And in the comics, Butcher gives it to Huey against his will and forces him to take it and become a superhero. And then he does that thing that he does in this episode where he punches through a person. And
I loved it.
But the very cool thing I found is just to keep even those people on their toes in the television show that has been veering away from that direction a little bit. They have him not only take it, but take it of his own volition. And, wow. And also, he seems to enjoy it. Like that.
Yes.
That last scene where he's just lolling head out the window looks like
watching the light go through his hand.
That's going to be very interesting in the next couple of episodes when, if by my count, I believe Butcher was given 4 vials. Even if you say those have 2 doses, he's got 2 left. So he's got about 4 shots left. If vials are 2 doses, he's got 1 shot left. Oh, he's got even less than I thought. So they definitely are more than 1 dose, because they wouldn't have given, I don't even think Huey would be dumb enough to take the last one, because they need a failsafe in case they need that to fight Homelander.
Right.
And now who knows, because all bets are off. They just let out a nuke. That's not in the comics or the television show, that is not a superpower that Soldier Boy has.
Okay, I was going to ask because I had no idea. It's like, is that a new thing? This
Yeah,
thing that comes out, or do you think he realized he was doing it?
He's not Cyclops' brother. Right. I know that for sure.
Yeah, that's Banshee, isn't it?
I was talking about Psylocke. I was talking about Havoc.
No, Havoc. That's it. I knew it was one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, there are a lot of different slight differences and like they do change a lot, but I was literally watching a thing that was like, oh, look at all these differences from the comic book to the TV show, and I was just like, well, this was definitely written when only season 1 and 2 were out, because they're doing a lot of these storylines in 3. They've changed characters and split different characters up, but literally that scene with Stan Edgar is directly out of the comic books, with an exact scene where the founder of Vought, same thing, no change in blood pressure, gives that speech to Homelander about how he's not afraid of him and how he's just bad product.
Right.
And then, so they definitely pull quite a few of the things. They're just picking and choosing which storylines and spreading them out over a season rather than one comic issue. Because one thing about comics is, like, the stories did have to keep going and keep resolving within an issue. Eric Kripke once said he could have done that when he started the series. He was saying, I could have developed issue by issue, one issue equals to an episode, and this would have been a great series. But adapting it into the modern times was their challenge that they brought. And they've done extremely well with.
The Boys written?
Not super long ago, and I'm not sure if it was set in a specific time period either, but they were more specifically referring to things like the Me Too movement, and because that happened right about the time they were writing the show and writing about Starlight's sexual assault, and they actually they made sure to put that into the series, but also changed it from the comic books, because I believe the comic has Vought like bury it and like force her to work with them anyway. And like, so that was the first thing they decided to change about the comics, and also brought it specifically with how the world was at the time by giving Starlight an outlet that wouldn't have existed in 2006, where she was able to do that whole thing and come out and talk about it, because she wasn't able to back then in our world.
Fucking deep.
Yeah. And yeah, so they kind of, again, they're adapting it, but they are like, no story in the comics. Yeah, in the comics. Oh, it's not the Deep. I actually didn't even know that.
No, in the comics, the Deep is like the only male member of the team who's not involved in it.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Homelander, A-Train, and Black Noir, I think, were the ones who involved.
Wow.
Yeah. Black Noir, who you still haven't seen yet this season, right? Except for that flashback thing. Well, yeah. But he hasn't done anything. Like, you haven't seen, like, he was in the last season. He was. But
then also in the comics, like, I believe Homelander is like a clone of Butcher or some crazy shit, and like that clearly can't happen in the television series because they're very clearly different people. But there is some wild shit that happens in the comics.
Well, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna spoil it.
No, and
you should talk about it on the show.
And really, you shouldn't, because like the series is doing quite a good job at taking some of the best things from the comic book and also doing a great job of keeping all of these beats very, very current. And I think the television show is doing things 100 times better than the comic, but they're also, again, you need that comic in order to give them this inspiration.
And the gross out levels on the show, as soon as you think you've seen the most they're going to do, they keep one-upping. Every episode has something especially gross. The Huey punching through the guy's face. I haven't laughed that hard since the old when the guy sneezed. Every episode has something for the gross out people, including me. Oh, the dildo fight.
The dildo fight is really, really funny, and like I cannot imagine. I wish Kamiko could speak so that she could have dropped a killer ass line about fucking someone to death.
Oh my god, that's pretty rude. You're talking about human beings.
Well, I mean,
oh boy.
Did that guy count?
I feel so bad. Like, you know, I don't think those things were sharp. And look what they did. Oh
no.
There's blunt force trauma with that in there. So funny. And I did forget for a minute there after she got shot that she has basically Wolverine powers. I forgot from her character. And so I see her get shot. It's like that's how she goes like this. So it's like, oh right.
Hey, they can take her superpowers and give her voice back, and literally she'd be so happy.
Well, they may have taken
the boys powers. Would never do that.
They may have taken her powers.
Yeah.
Oh
again.
Is that something? Do you think that's something what that thing does, or whatever, with that beam that shot out of him? Do you some kind of like a radiation that nukes powers? What, I don't know.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
As to whether or not they had this weapon, but it wasn't a weapon. It was an enhancement for Compound V, possibly. But basically, like, they had this serum that they couldn't give to a regular person. It kept killing all the test subjects, and that's why they went in and captured Soldier Boy to test it on him. And then maybe they used him to make further soldiers, but they needed a human to actually contain it. But that's only a theory. Like, that's literally the one thing I can think of as to why they would have went and captured him rather than used whatever this weapon is on them. Yes, a game theory. I thought it too.
I'm thinking, like, did Vought come up with the fail-safe for Homelander? Did they know what Homelander is? And they knew about, maybe there was some kind of power within Soldier Boy where he'd be able to contain it, but then got worried about the Wart. I should have a guy named the Wart. And then, so that's the reason they sealed him up or something like that, because they were afraid of what he was going to do to the rest of the supers or something like that, and had to seal him up. So we'll see. Who knows? Again, since I have no idea what's going on in the comics or whatever, I can just watch the TV show and find out. And it seems as though it's changed enough from the comics that you'll have no goddamn idea either.
Yeah, and see, that was kind of curious too, was like when they were showing the scene with Mallory way back, and she, like, her whole base is getting murdered, and half the time the superheroes are killing her soldiers.
Right.
And at that point, I was thinking that literally this Russian squad was Vought. Like, I thought this was literally controlled by them the whole time, because they killed just as many Americans, and it was a whole thing of, like, just as long as no one survives. That's literally Vought's bottom line.
Right.
Is no witnesses, nothing happened. So,
that's
like, at that point, I literally thought it was Vought. And maybe it was. Maybe the gun is not a gun. It's that frickin' cage that they put him in, and Vought did that because he was that day's version of Homelander. Maybe he was getting too big for what Stan Edgar had in mind for him, and he needed to be put in his place, but they couldn't kill him, so they froze him.
Yeah, I have a feeling, Vought's going to be involved with this. I mean, I can't imagine the Russians just kept Soldier Boy in this thing with this kind of power and alive for this long. I have a feeling
unless they're literally gearing up for superhero Cold War, which would be terrifying.
A Cold War wouldn't be terrifying. An active war would be terrifying.
Yeah. And so I'm really curious. I expect, there's a whole beat where like frickin' Homelander will probably try to take over the world. He seems to be getting to that huge like super villain status of like he's even mentioned it a few times. He's come to the realization that, and finally, it took him fucking long enough, that like people do not love him. They don't even like him. Yeah. Nobody though. That's the thing. It's not that not everybody loves him. It's that nobody does. And he's very close to that tipping point where we're coming for some cool shit, and I don't know what they're going to do, but I want to see this Godzilla versus King Kong fight between him and Soldier Boy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, oh boy,
nah. Yeah. Supersonic who? Oh. We do not know what his powers are. Dave could probably change the title of this episode to "We Got the Scoop, We're Revealing Supersonic Superpowers," and we'd get more viewers because nobody in the world knows what Supersonic superpowers was. He never used them. We never saw him on screen. Now he's gone.
Yeah, he's a good dancer. That's Mesmerizing.
Yeah, he does dance well, and he sings okay. He sings very bad songs, kinda okay.
And seems to be a nice person.
Well, seemed to be. But yeah, I'm curious to see if they're like I did see somebody mention that there's a possibility that maybe that wasn't supersonic, but that because Homelander doesn't like to just kill people for no reason either. He likes to torture people, especially those that betray him, and I think he might not pass up that opportunity to, scare the shit out of Starlight, but then still keep Supersonic around because that's a very useful chip to play.
Well, not now.
I mean, that guy was literally so burnt that like you couldn't tell if he was Supersonic or anybody else.
His arms were ripped off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good time. Why don't we get to see more of that?
Yeah, we're gonna get there. I'm really curious to see. Again, they have now put out 4 goddamn episodes, and I still haven't really seen frickin' Soldier Boy do anything. And I'm excited because
how many episodes are they doing? 10? Is it 10 episodes?
I think so. I can't remember if they're 8 or 10 usually, but as far as I know, they're just releasing a regular season. I think it's 10. And yeah, we've got season 4 coming too. That's very exciting. I can't wait to see, and that's why I kind of know things, is because they they release who's going to be in the next season pretty like during the off seasons of the show. So I knew Soldier Boy was going to be in this season, so I looked things up about him, and that's how I found out about Rampage and about like he's the Captain America ripoff. That was very evident the whole time.
Right.
And then like when they mentioned Stormfront as well for season 2, I went and looked up who Stormfront was, and I found out that that was clearly what they were going to be doing. And so like I know some of the things just because I get too curious when they introduce new super villains and superpowers. Like
You
I need
you don't just want to wait and see. You're the kid that like snuck and found his Christmas presents and opened them up and taped them back together.
No, actually. But I am the kid who found out about how Santa wasn't real because I walked down the stairs to get a glass of water in the middle of the night. Spoilers.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I went to go get a glass of water, and I was being very quiet because it was the middle of the fucking night. And then I go downstairs, and all the lights are on in the house, and my parents are wrapping presents. And I was like, oh, tiptoe back upstairs, go back to my room. Yeah. So that was fun. Oh, man. I'm so curious. I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody is going to be able to kill this guy.
That's what I was wondering.
We don't know. It's
or does this thing that they did, do they find out that it zaps powers for a little bit? Maybe she's going to be close to dying, and then voila, her powers are coming back, and she fixes herself. They figure out that he can. If he can get that done to Homelander, that gives them enough time to rip him in half.
Take his frickin' superpower juice and kill the guy. Yeah. Shit like that.
But if they did, there's no way there'd be a 4th season. I can't see the show going on without a Homelander. But then again, I don't speak ahead and read the comics. Daniel.
Yeah. I don't think it continues without Homelander. Also, but there are possibilities for it to continue without Homelander.
Maybe a robot Homelander.
I would literally say Butcher becomes the big bad before Soldier Boy. But like basically kind of goes too far. Now his mission is done and everything, but like now he wants to take out all of the superheroes, even the non-threatening ones, even the Starlight ones. Yeah.
So Huey has to fight against Butcher.
That's a possibility. There's a possibility that Stan Edgar is the final big villain.
Maybe he's a real life dragon or something.
Yeah. And then there's always the possibility that we end up with superhero Cold War. So that could end up. And then you have Huey becomes the villain. Yes. That's a whole thing.
Oh,
I think Huey could become the villain, although it would require the most work. The most work would be Starlight.
He did not look like a good guy in this one.
Starlight becoming the villain would be the hardest.
He's done some damage to some guys, like put the bomb inside the one dude, punch a hole.
Although you know who would never become the villain? Frenchie. Frenchie could not be the villain. He's just too good a person for that group, honestly. Him and Kimiko do need to leave if she survives.
I do see him dying in this season for sure.
Very likely.
Frenchie ain't gonna make it. Guys.
Yeah, that's a very likely story, actually. Very good point.
As soon as they say, oh, we're gonna go to Marseille, that's it. You're gonna die. Oh.
But again, Butcher getting Kimiko killed makes Butcher the villain, not Frenchie. That's what I think.
Except if Frenchie kills Mother's Milk
Orange. Okay. That's about all I got for the boys. So we can move on a little bit to Something a little bit more mature. High school.
What?
High school kids are more mature than anyone on The Boys.
Is that how it works?
I'm speaking actual maturity, not mature language.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Yes, it is a marvelous day on D+, because I freaking loved Ms. Marvel. What did you think about it before I go on?
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. And it's like Dave was saying before, is basically going to be Spider-Man. Yeah, we got Spider-Man. But there's nothing wrong with that. I like the Spider-Man story. I liked her family. I liked everybody. There's only one thing in the entire show that really bothered me, which is nice, considering that we're coming off of the Moon Knight, where a lot of things seemed all the time. The only thing that bothered me was when the Ant-Man's head gets knocked off and starts rolling and seems to pick up steam as it goes, and it seems to be going for yards and yards and yards, like 60 yards worth of this great big thing, like picking up steam and keep going. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Yeah, whatever.
Especially because you gain
a little great.
You gain exactly the same effect by just have it falling straight down and using slow-mo. Like, it allows her to like turn her head, react, have the moment, and then save the person. It just needs to fall straight down. Yeah. I do agree with that. But, you know, that's quite nitpicky, I would say.
For sure. Yeah, you're going to be nitpicking to find stuff that you don't like about Ms. Marvel so far. And, you know, all that, like, and again, more kid actors or teen actors, which are, you know, just as bad as kid actors.
And
but every single one of them I liked. I enjoyed every one of them.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my nitpick about this show.
Here we go.
My one tiny thing would be, I'm disappointed that her Instagram star, like the popular girl, the mean girl at school. I was about to call her the Cordelia. That's a reference.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But
Cordelia.
Yeah, I was upset she wasn't wearing the gloves. Like, during the costume contest, I think she should have got up and had the flashing gloves and just had a moment where...
Yeah, where she took it, she was in the stall.
Yeah, where she left them in the bathroom, and, like, the worst person ever to find them is the one with the 100,000 followers, and now she's got these shining gloves, and everyone's freaking out. I think they could have really done something cool with that.
I didn't find that girl to be that much of an asshole, though. Maybe that's just me being an asshole. But I didn't think she was that much of an asshole. But I understand the character she's supposed to. That's why I'm thinking she's more of a like, I think when you said Cordelia, you're about right. That's about bang on to who she is. She's Cordelia.
Like, she's not necessarily, like, I mean, Cordelia was mean, but like not like at her core, yes. And I do think that could possibly happen. Yeah, she got by Thor's hammer.
His ghost has a potty.
That was really funny. A lot of that was a lot of fun. I really like when, you know, again, this is literally a Spider-Man scene. It's when he gets the frickin' webs everywhere and he gets it stuck to the door and he can't do this and he can't do that, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it really was very, very Spider-Man. I really liked a lot of it. And
it had kind of like the Uncle Ben moment and stuff like that, where her dad, you know, got dressed up. It was like, no, I don't want to go to the thing with you. It's like, all right, I'll wait in the car by this library. And I was fully expecting one of the shots or whatever to kill her dad somehow or something like that, or maybe that Ant-Man head, you know, continues out through the door, crushes him in the station wagon or whatever it's gonna be. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't go that far because he was one of my favorite characters on the show.
Oh yeah, he's so funny actually. And honestly, am a little disappointed that she didn't have to go to the convention with her dad, because his costume was great. Everyone would have found it hilarious, and also like that is a little bit of a betrayal to, like, you know, a true nerd and fan would appreciate a newcomer, not not push them away and gatekeep them like Kamala did.
For her was that she had worked so hard on that costume, you know what I mean? And it seemed like her parents really didn't, or her mother at least, it really didn't like it. So I'm sure her father was fine with her going, but then he got very excited.
But there's the opportunity for, you know, having her cake and eating it too there, where she goes with her dad. Yeah, again, I was also thinking that, like, but again, her dad's super fucking chill. You just bring him along, then explain to him that you're not wearing that ugly ass Hulk costume to the convention. And you just let him be the Hulk.
There's another thing I thought, you know, it didn't take me out of the story at all and stuff like that. But when they're talking Avenger Con and stuff like that, I'm thinking it's going to be a big deal. Like, they're going to be going right downtown.
And then it's like a high school gym.
Yeah, it's like a community center. Like a local community center. Like it's like a hockey rink.
To be fair, that is true of absolutely every convention. Every single convention that starts out, the first one does not have 200 people at it. Like, this is true of Comic-Con, and it's true of AvengerCon.
I don't know. They had some pretty big statues of dudes and a head that was big enough to cause havoc as it rolled and gained steam, despite you know, physics. So there was some money put into this thing, so I just don't know why it was just a local hockey rink. But
yes, but
it's the Avengers. It's not like it was like doing some local comic book shop or something like that.
That's the thing is
New York.
It's probably the 14th first Avenger Con. Like they're all one is called like Avenger something else, and one is called like Roger Con, and you have Stark Con, and I'm sure there are many of these conventions, and she's just upselling the one that she gets to go to because she wants it to be big, because she wants that dream of being at the very first one when it grows into a worldwide phenomenon and all that.
Maybe one day there's going to be a Kamala Con.
That could wow. Oh, that one hit me. But yeah. Also, speaking of, the person who would probably run that convention is the person who plays Kamala Khan. Because again, Iman Vellani is so good at her role that she was already Kamala Khan before they cast her. Tom Holland did a backflip in his interview to show that he was ready to be Spider-Man. Well, Kamala Khan is a giant Avengers fan. And so, in order to be perfect for this role, required years and years of studying. And yeah, I've been like, all throughout the internet, there are a million different videos of showing how much she knows about Marvel, and different articles about how she argues with Kevin Feige about what is and isn't canon. And this is incredible, coming from another like news article I found where she thought the original casting request was a scam, and so almost didn't reply to the email, so almost never got to be the role. Yeah, because I believe like it's one of her few roles, and so she she thought it was a scam and thought it wasn't real, and then had to be like contacted again and told like, no, we really want you to join the Marvel family. And then yeah, she went and auditioned and became Miss Marvel. But
and she never had an acting role before this, is that right?
I don't know for sure. I just know I've read like Newcomer a few times, and so I didn't look into it. I just assumed from the different things I've read about her that she's relatively new to it, at least.
Right. Okay. Here's another thing I'm finding out just now, perusing. Canadian.
Really?
She seems to be Canadian. No.
Oh yeah, she's Pakistani Canadian.
Yeah. So no wonder she's so goddamn good, guys. Natural. Freaking natural. She gets it.
To be fair, she was born in Pakistan.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. You take everybody. If you're a Canadian,
Okay, this
Canadian, Daniel, you don't have to be born.
This is unfair. Because I just found out she's 19 and she's more talented than we'll ever be.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Unbelievable.
And yeah, she's director. Okay, it does look like she plays herself in a short film in 2021, and that's her only pre-Miss Marvel role. And Miss Marvel is all of her other roles. So, yeah.
I think it's so smart. Like, to get like a character that nobody really knows and to bring in an actress that nobody really knows to play it. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you just felt so comfortable with Miss Marvel right from the get-go. That the writing's pretty good. Yeah. All the other actors
and also again, because I mean, these lines can be written for anybody. Any actor could memorize the names that she's spouting off. Yeah. But to have somebody who actually knows
before, in a movie called Spider-Man.
Yes. But again, like, to spout off, and Tom Holland is actually a huge Marvel fan himself. And it's also been said that Iman Vellani would destroy him in any Marvel trivia. But that's kind of it too, is not only can these lines just be written for her to be spouting off, but it is quite clear that she knows what she's talking about when she's talking about all of these obscure bits about the characters, and I appreciate that, honestly.
Sure.
And I cannot wait to see like all of the crazy little Easter eggs that Marvel is going to throw into this show, because
I was wondering, who would do we know if there's like an actual bad guy in this series, or is this going to be a series about someone discovering her powers? And also, and another thing, is that wrist sort of thing is that canon at all? I was
yes and no.
Okay.
The wristband seems to maybe be a nega band, which are these bands that are connected to the negative verse, and they're able to draw like different people use them throughout history. There's like something like six sets of them known in Marvel history. Then also they might not be those things at all.
Would her mother know what that thing was then? Like, when she saw that thing come out or whatever, she says, "What are you doing with it?" kind of thing.
Which, again, like in the Marvel universe, the artifact that most resembles this MacGuffin they're using are these bands, and they basically, some of them have different histories because some of them have been sitting around for long times. Some of them belong to crazy aliens from ancient frickin' reaches of space. It's quite possible that they'll link it to the Ten Rings. And
magical.
That's
a magical item.
And also, it could be related to those Scarab artifacts too. They could be related to a lot of things, but
now does Ms. Marvel have like actual villains? Like, does she go after like the what are they, the Kree? Isn't that what Captain Marvel and Sword go against? Isn't that the Kree that she goes against? But I don't know.
That's a good possibility.
Yeah, they've been introduced. Or the Skrulls.
Honestly,
Skrulls.
I am.
I don't want to know. I'm just throwing out things out loud because it hasn't shown us. Like there was no like ominous villain at the end. Like, no, I'm gonna unleash my power on Avenger Con, and I'm getting foiled. What the shit is this? There's nothing like that. No bad guy introduced, and no real fighting or anything like that. Just her helping people, which is it was good. Yeah, but I'm just wondering where it's going. Like, is it just going to be like a teenage high school sort of comedy adventure thing, or is there going to be something deeper to it? I have no idea. I have no idea where it's going to go. So I'm and especially when you look back to what Moon Knight was, and how I felt after the first episode of Moon Knight.
And
I'm very much looking forward to see what they do with this.
Did you see what the ghost was asking? Did you see the post-credit scene?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
because there was a post-credit scene.
Oh boy!
And it doesn't necessarily introduce a villain, but it does introduce an overarching whatchamacallit. It's or possibly an Avengers initiative, or some sort of, sword, possibly. Who knows?
So I have a reason to rewatch.
Wait, Dan, it was...
But like somebody on a computer points at a screen and says, like, we have super activity here. We should investigate it.
Did you not recognize those people?
I did not.
Is it Julia Louis-Dreyfus again?
It is not Julia. Fuck, I can't say. No, it was the Department of Damage Control from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
Being like, hey, Spider-Man, you're going to jail. And Stu from Succession was like, hey, let's bring her in. Right. So she may be on the run from the
I see. Yeah.
Well, she doesn't even have a bike anymore.
And yes, I hadn't noticed that it was damage control. I just thought that it was government agency, so I didn't know who was coming after her, but someone is.
I'm also wondering if they're gonna Pretty in Pink this thing. Like, she's got this guy that keeps helping her out and stuff like that, but is there gonna be another boy that shows up and she falls in love with him and doesn't even get with the friend or whatever? Just like Pretty in Pink. We'll see.
Yeah.
Or are they going to right Pretty in Pink's wrongs? Will they right the wrongs of Pretty in Pink? I don't know. When I'm going into this thing, I thought it was going to be very John Hughes. And, after the first episode, I don't know. But, there's however many episodes left to be John Hughes.
Yeah.
Which
and I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
It seems a little less that, and it looks like it's going to be... I'm not quite sure exactly what we're going to get yet. Again, I wanted a second episode. That's really what I wanted. I wanted them to have batch released at least the first few.
All I do every single week is bitch about how I only want to watch them one episode at a time so you can focus on one episode. And then I get one episode and it's like, well, where's the second fucking episode?
Yeah.
Turns out I'm a bit of a jerk. Turns out,
especially, I wouldn't have been upset with a second episode, but because I want confirmation that the second episode is as complete as that first one, I felt very satisfied with the first episode. It was a great introduction. I know a lot, like, at least not necessarily about the character, but about how the character is, and I wanted to see the next step, and then I had to wait.
I was thinking the exact same thing. The ghost is reading my
She's
mind.
the kid and the alien.
I am going to get an exorcist. Yeah. She's gonna ride in her buddy's bike basket. So the next thing you'll see is them going over you see the moon and behind them and stuff like that.
They literally did ride a bike together.
Mm-hmm.
He does pedal a bicycle that she's riding on.
Ooh, so we're gonna get if like John Hughes wrote E.T. with Spider-Man.
And she could probably make them fly, so or at least build a giant ramp for him to bike on. And he could literally bike across the moon.
If there's a speak and spell in the next episode, I am going to lose my shit. Well, yeah, 100% Captain Marvel showing up in the show. You don't reference Captain Marvel as much as this happens without her showing up, at least for a brief second.
Yeah, so I have to assume Captain Marvel shows up, and that might be how she doesn't get caught, is that she's not on Earth very long. That honestly could happen to us.
Do you think you see Monica Rambeau? Do they bring the Marvels together at some point?
That's kind of what I'm curious about. I assume they go Carol Danvers over Monica if they're only doing one. It's very easy for Carol to recruit Monica later. But I don't know how they shoehorn Kamala into the movie if they don't introduce her in the series. Like, because of the way that they're doing it in reverse order, where they have introduced a lot of these characters elsewhere and then brought them further to light. But I don't know. Also, just a shout out to the mention about how there's no girl Hulk. I laughed out loud when I heard that line because, like, it's the next series.
There'll be 3 in a row where they're doing a TV series to introduce the lead character, which is good, as long as She-Hulk isn't Moon Knight. As long as it's more, it airs more on the Ms. Marvel side and not as much on the.
Oh yes, again, you've brought it up a second time, so I cannot believe Moon Knight. That show was, every episode was way too long, and yet we needed 6 more of them. Like, that show is going to boggle my mind forever. I still think about it sometimes. Like, a lot of the show is like stuck in my head, but
it's like a car crash or something.
I didn't like it.
Oh my! Oh.
Yes, the mouse is watching. Look, we love Miss Marvel though. We absolutely love this new show. This new one is great. And again, they made the Orphan Black character a Marvel superhero, so I'm gonna watch the next one too, just based on that alone. I mean, I was gonna watch a She-Hulk series no matter who they cast. Don't get me wrong, but so I don't know. As long as basically we just need less Moon Knights. we need more of literally any of their other series because I've enjoyed all of them immensely.
Yeah, and to be perfectly fair, there are scenes in Moon Knight I like. There's a lot of it. There's quite a few things in Moon Knight I like. Just as a whole, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Again, way too long and way too short at the exact same time. It just does not make sense.
That's literally what you just said doesn't make sense. I get it.
Yeah. And speaking of too long and too short at the same time, that's about the length of our episodes. Because while we could sit here and talk for several more hours, I'm sure the viewers at home have lives, and I think you might as well. I'm not sure. I definitely don't. so I'm just here. But I guess that's about it. Do you have anything to mention before we let the peoples go?
One thing, again, trying to watch shows. See what's interesting. There's a couple things. One maybe I'll bring up at some point. There's no rush to it. It's not like it's a limited series or anything like that. We'll see. One thing was I was reading, those little pop-ups come up on your phone and stuff like that, and they're talking about there was another 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes for a television show called Irma Vep. And so I was like, okay, it's Alicia Vikander, and she's an actress. It's like, as soon as I hear that someone's playing an actress that's going to be playing in a show or whatever, and it's in TV and stuff like that, it's like, oh, this shit's made for critics. Like, this isn't going to be made for me. And so it's about a very early kind of villainess who I don't know if she's a vampire or a cat burglar or what it is. Yeah, a lot of it was getting through the thing, but a lot it has to do with they're retelling a story about a vampire story or whatever in Paris, and yeah. I get that the critics can like this kind of thing, but I fucking hated it. I didn't like it at all. It's like, this is, this is meant for people, little watchers. It's like, oh, okay, I see. It's like, nah, not for me. Yeah, but a show that could have vampires. The only interesting really part to me was the director. There's something going on with the director where he's, a head case, which is fine.
Worst part is, like, I'd listen to 2 90-minute podcasts about that story you just told me, but I do not want to watch that television show.
It's not great.
If it was just a person talking for 3 hours about that subject, who's playing us out?
Yeah, we're gonna play it up. That's our own music.
Yep, that's our music, I guess.
I'd like to thank the Academy and my parents.
So where can the people find you then?
You'll find me at Snark Yeti here on the Northern Entertainment Group, and elsewhere around. Do a bunch of
he's around.
stuff.
He's around.
Yeah.
There are several corners of the internet where you can't even go live without asking Snark if he's busy or not. So
especially the dark.
Just find those corners. I myself can be found on Twitter at Corrupted Canuck. That's corrupted with a K. You can also find our producer and our entire fleet of crew members of the Northern Entertainment Group. We're pretty much, we're all on Twitter. I think I can say we're all on Twitter now. So you can find us there, and you can also find us all around on the Northern Entertainment Group YouTube channel and Facebook page and all sorts of other places. No, that's about it, honestly. Well, you can find Ben on Twitch, and you can find 50 on Twitch. I do not know their Twitch handles. Maybe we need to start coordinating these things and putting them in descriptions. Anywho, that about does it for us. So for myself, for Snark, for Dave in the back, and for the Northern Entertainment Group, we thank you, and we'll see you next week.